Welcome back, travel fans. I'm Morgan from the very unofficial travel guides, and on this Sunday Sofatime, I'm going to tell you about some of my biggest travel regrets. Welcome back, everybody. If you follow this channel a lot, you will know that I am actually in London right now. So I'm recording this video a couple days earlier, and right now I'm having fun in London. If you want to know more about what's going on there, then follow me on Facebook and especially on Instagram. Instagram is where, when I'm like traveling and I'm out and about, that's where I usually post the most things in my Instagram story. So if you really want to know like where I am at this moment right now, then go check out Instagram. The subject of this video today is something that I thought about for a while, and it's not necessarily like a negative thing. I think these are things that a lot of people are going to be able to relate to, and I'm really looking forward to hearing what you have to say about these things in the comments. And that is, I went through my head and through my life, and I wrote down 6 things that I will never be able to do that I had the chance to do, and because I didn't decide to do it at that time, I will never be able to do it because it's not possible anymore. And they're all related to travel and tourist destinations. So let me just jump into it, because then you'll know exactly what I mean. 3 of these are theme parks, and 3 of them are like attraction and shows. And like I said, none of these things are possible anymore, at least in the way that it was at the time I would have had the chance. And the first one is, I was at Disneyland in 2002. I think it was 2002. And California Adventure was not even a year old. It was the original California Adventure, this really small park that was totally slammed by Disney fans and critics and everybody. And I was at Disneyland, like I said, about a year after it opened, and I didn't go. And that's one thing that I definitely regret now. But the reason I didn't go then is because I had to decide. I could have either gone to Disneyland, which at the time I had never been to. I had been to Disney World and Disneyland Paris and Tokyo Disney. No, I hadn't been to Tokyo Disney yet, but I had never been to the original Disneyland. And I only had one day, and I was really broke. So I had to pick one park, and because I had heard nothing good about California Adventure, I just decided that it didn't make sense to go there and that I would go to Disneyland. But now, in hindsight, I think it would have been really cool to have seen it back then and to like be able to say, oh yeah, the original California Adventure, not good. And of course, California Adventure still exists, and the park has grown and been majorly transformed. It has changed so much from the original lineup of the original design, the original concept, that, you know, I have been there since then. And of course, I can go there now. However, it's just not the same thing. You know, I missed the chance to say, yes, I was there. I know how bad it was. I saw it. The next thing on my list is sort of similar, and that is, I was at Disney World in 1992 when I graduated high school, and at that time there was the Magic Kingdom, there was Epcot, and then a still relatively new Disney MGM Studios theme park. Before Rock and Roller Coaster, before Tower of Terror, back when the lot movie tour, whatever it was called, was like 2 hours long. And that's another thing that I didn't go to. I was there with my family, with my dad and my stepmom and my sister and Morgan, and we were there for 5 days, and we spent the whole time in Epcot and the Magic Kingdom and never even went to the Studios park. And when I look back at it now, I think the reason that we didn't is because there were no rides there. There were just like shows and like experiences, and then this 2-hour backstage movie tour. And yeah, for thrill-seeking teenage Morgan, it just was not enough. And that would have been just another really cool thing that I wish I had seen it back then, so that like when I go there now, it would be fun to just like compare and, you know, oh yeah, that's right, this used to be that and this used to be that. And I mean, I've still been going there for like 20, 30, how many years now? Was there in 5th grade. I've been going there for several years, like 30 years. So I still can do that a little bit, in the Disney parks. But it's another thing kind of like California Adventure. Still there, it exists now. Of course, both parks are much better than they were then, but it just would have been cool to like I said, to have said, oh yeah, I was there back then, and I know that it's better now. You know what I mean? So if you had been to either of those parks way back in the beginning, like in the very first year, write what you remember about it in the comments. And any of these things I mention, if you got the chance to see them or do them or be a part of them, please write to me what it is you remember about it and sort of take me with on your journey so I can maybe enjoy it through vicariously through your memories. The next one is another theme park sort of thing, but this one is now gone forever, something I will never be able to do, and I don't know if it's that big of a deal or not, but it is Wet n Wild, the original great big water park in Orlando that of course has been now, torn down and will be made into, I think it's being made into a new resort for Universal Studios, right? I know that Wet n Wild, when you compare it to places like Typhoon Lagoon and Blizzard Beach and now Volcano Bay and several other water parks, I know Wet n Wild was not, probably one of the best, but it was like an original big Orlando attraction, and back in the 80s, it was probably the most spectacular water park in the United States. And yeah, and all the times that I had been to Orlando when it existed, I just never went. And now that it's completely gone, it feels weird to not have been there. When you consider that I've gone to all the Disney parks, all the Universal parks, both Disney water parks now, several smaller attractions in Orlando, it seems weird to me that I never went to Wet n Wild, and actually, I really don't know. I don't really have a reason why I never went there. It just never happened. And now I never will. Okay, the next thing is only gonna be something that people who are really Orlando fans, or maybe people who grew up in Orlando, are even gonna know about or be able to relate to. It's a tourist attraction that used to be on International Drive, and it's called Mystery Funhouse. Mystery Funhouse. I first knew about Mystery Funhouse from my very first trip to Florida back when I was in 5th or 6th grade, way back in, what was it then? I don't know. It was a long time ago. And I remember that in the lobby of the hotel where we were staying, there were all these brochures, these things that are in the lobby of the hotel where it's like a stand and it's just all these brochures from different attractions and museums and things like that. And I remember on the first night we got there, grabbing all these things and sitting there in the hotel room and being like, Dad, can we go here? Mom, can we go here? What about this place? And I can't tell you what it was now in the brochure for Mystery Funhouse. Mystery Funhouse. That I was so fascinated by, but there was something in there, some kind of attraction, something that 10-year-old Morgan thought looked so cool that that it was one of the things of all the attractions in Orlando that I really wanted to visit, and we never went. I know that sounds so anticlimactic, but I just remember being really set on wanting to see what was so exciting. What was the mystery in Mystery Funhouse? Mystery Funhouse. And now I'll never know. I know that the building is still there. I think the building that was Mystery Funhouse is still there, and maybe it was used for something else in the meantime. But if you have any Mystery Funhouse experiences, if you've been there, maybe you worked there, please get in touch. Please let me know. What do you think it might have been in a brochure from the 80s that I looked at that I was like, oh my gosh, I really want to see that. Mystery Funhouse, what a word for an attraction. It gives you no information at all. Okay, moving on. The next thing on the list is a very specific thing, and it's something that in a way may sometime be possible again, and that is the Wonders of Life Pavilion in Epcot. I had several chances to visit this pavilion, to do the attractions inside it, and I never did it, and I don't know why. Like I said, when I was at Disney on the high school trip, we spent a lot of time in Epcot on those 5 days. And I know my sister and I feel like we did everything, but I am pretty sure that we did not do any of the Wonders of Life attractions. We didn't do Cranium Command. We didn't do, what was it called? Body Wars? Yeah, Body Wars. I don't think we even went inside, and I don't know why we didn't. And I know that, or I'm pretty sure that when I was a Disney cast member in 1995, that pavilion was still open, but I know that I definitely didn't do any of it then. Why not? Why did I miss this like almost original, is it an original Disney pavilion? Epcot pavilion, I mean. Just never did it. And you may know that the pavilion is still there. So if you've been to Epcot or if you're going to Epcot, you can still see the building. At least the outer shell is there. It's hidden. You have to look for it. It's between Mission Space and what used to be Universe of Energy. So if you go back there and you look back behind the trees, you'll see this dome. The whole building is still there, but I don't know what's inside. Are the attractions still inside, or is it just one big empty building? Once again, if you have any more information about that, well, like if you know what's in there now, write that in the comments below, please. All right, the final thing on my list is not a theme park thing, and I think just about everything else has been like Orlando or theme park related, but it is very touristy, and it's something that I know some of you have done. You must have done it, and that is to see the Siegfried and Roy show in Las Vegas. Ugh, why didn't I go? The very first time I was in Las Vegas was probably like 2002, 2003, and the Siegfried and Roy show was still the big highlight on the Strip in the Mirage Hotel. And for whatever reason, I just didn't think that I should buy a ticket and go to it. The Mirage Hotel and the Siegfried and Roy show, this huge production show with the live tigers and the amazing, like, gigantic audio animatronics and original songs by Michael Jackson, is like a legend in show business. The fact that these guys had the show there and that the Mirage was, you know, built there has a lot to do with why Las Vegas turned out to, you know, get this like great big boom back in the 80s and 90s. Yeah, if it hadn't been for that, I probably would have never been interested to go to Vegas in the first place. And so why I didn't, I don't know. I really don't know why when I was there, I didn't think that it would be a good idea to buy tickets and go see it. And of course, you mean everybody knows what happened. There was an accident with a tiger and yeah. It's over now. By the way, there are some fascinating videos and like documentaries on YouTube that I've seen about people who were working there and like how their lives changed so quickly because that was like their job full time, and then from one day to the next it was just over. And of course now in that theater is the Cirque du Soleil show Love, which I have seen. Probably one of my lesser favorite Cirque du Soleil shows. But if you're into Beatles and you're into just having like an hour and a half of sensory overload, then it could be a good show for you. And those are my six travel regrets, things I wish I had done differently. If I had thought about it at the time, I would have had a really, yeah, even better story to talk about now, but it is what it is. You can't change the past. And now comes the time on Sunday Sofa Time where I comment on your comments live on air. In last week's Sunday Sofa Time, I talked about how my next cruise is kind of a surprise. I'm going to be cruising with MSC again. And the reason that's surprising is because the worst cruise I've ever been on was an MSC cruise. And I basically promised myself that I would never spend money to cruise with them again. But here we are. And overall, almost all of the comments of people who wrote about that on this video are people saying that they're excited to hear what I have to say. So I feel like I made the right choice. For instance, Jack Campbell writes, "Great news, Morgan. MSC intrigues me. So many bad reviews, but I question whether this stems from the line being less Americanized. You don't go to Barcelona to eat at a McDonald's. Travel should be about new experiences. I guess I just wonder if the service, food, and entertainment is truly universally bad." Well, Jack Campbell, stay tuned. Tracy1 writes, "I'm looking forward to your MSC review. I'm always trying to talk people into cruising on MSC, but I only know one real person whoever sailed MSC. So I'd love to hear your opinion. What do you mean by you only know one real person? You mean like you know people like from YouTube who've cruised? What do you mean? I don't understand what you mean. She writes, plus no ad for me. I have YouTube Red. Does that mean I don't see them? Yes, YouTube Red means you pay that monthly fee and then you have no ads. Cabin Crawl writes, that random piece of fluff floating in front of you at 5 minutes, 16 seconds. Yeah, I went back and looked at what Cabin Crawl is talking about, and yeah, in our living room, there's a lot of like cat hair flying around, and sometimes you'll see like a piece of it like floating through the screen here, and that's what Cabin Crawl is talking about that. One more from Lisa Anderson. Lisa writes, I hope you have an absolutely wonderful time. Thank you. I'm really, really curious about what it's going to be like. Good for you branching out a bit, even if it's kind of a redemption trip. I'm looking forward to living vicariously through you and through the elusive Marcus. Marcus just happened to be walking by the hallway when I said that. Thanks everybody. Like I said, while you're watching this, if you're watching this on Sunday, I'm in London at the moment, so if you want to find out what I'm doing right now, look at my Instagram story, and otherwise I will see you next week. Bye-bye.